from getting hurt twice.
Right now at 5, a look at the proposed changes to Page County's campground ordinance. County supervisors meeting last night to discuss how the proposal fits into the board's vision for the area.
Also, Elkton residents count down the days to the annual Autumn Days Festival. Anticipation building as this year is set to be the biggest one yet.
The Virginia NAACP's lawsuit against the Youngkin administration. The organization's focus on restoring felons' voting rights.
And voting on Capitol Hill to elect a new speaker. Representative Jim Jordan emphasizing the need for a speaker today as he holds out for his chance at the gavel.
And the fall color is exploding across the area right now. But do we have any more sunshine on the way for this week? I'll have your local forecast. The news at 5 starts right now.
Covering news across your hometown. We're working hard for you. This is WHSV News at 5.
3 years ago today, an explosion heard all around the valley rocked the friendly city. The blast at a Harrisonburg shopping center left multiple people injured. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Chelsea Church.
And I'm Kayla Brooks. Glad you're with us. Thankfully, even though there were several injuries, nobody died as a result of the incident. Multiple businesses were damaged by the explosion and some closed their doors. Over the years, some have managed to reopen.
Last night, the Page County Board of Supervisors met and got their first look at proposed amendments to the county's campground ordinance. The proposal includes big changes to requirements for new campgrounds. The proposed ordinance amendments require more robust site and landscaping plans from any new campground. One of the biggest goals of the changes is to decrease the density of campgrounds in the county. The proposal lowers the numbers of campsites allowed per acre from 20 to 15.
What you're trying to do there is reduce density, so if every site has a campfire, it lowers how much campfire is escaping the campground area. That's one complaint that we've had in the past, just a whole bunch of campfire. If it's a windy day and overcast, all that smoke is descending on one property owner adjacent. That's unfortunate.
The proposed changes would also all require all campgrounds with more than 5 campsites to have an on-site operator.
The countdown is on for the Epic Autumn Days in Elkton. The 2-day festival starting October 21st is the biggest event for the town every year. The Elkton Progressive Improvement Committee anticipates this to be the largest festival in Autumn Days history. Its vice president and Elkton's mayor Josh Gooden says they are pulling out all the stops to show off the town.
I think we've got a little over 120, 130 vendors or so, and then a little over a dozen food vendors. So we're maxing out our street this year and looking forward to continuing to grow the event.
The entire Elkton Autumn Days is dedicated in honor and memory of Larry Bauer.
Starting tomorrow, Rockingham County residents may see and or smell smoke over the next several days. The Department of Forestry will be conducting a prescribed burn 20 miles northeast of Harrisonburg. The Golly Ridge Burn Unit is located just south of Gate Mountain. If weather conditions are good, crews will begin blacklining the 1,300 acres on Wednesday afternoon. The area will be ignited on Thursday. Slate Lick Run Road and Golly Ridge Road will be temporarily closed for short periods during the burn, and travelers are asked to follow posted signs and trail closures as they occur. Getting a check of our forecast now, Chief Meteorologist Aubrey Urbanowitz in the First Alert Weather Center tonight, and a nice day out there. Nice fall day to be outside, Aubrey.
Yeah, despite the cloud cover today and a little bit of a breeze, temperature is actually not terrible for today. It was kind of a nice fall day. It would have been nice to see a little more sunshine. The high temperatures were right around 60 degrees for most of the area, and that's pretty much where we are right now. So take a look at our Pepsi of Central Virginia Skycam across Elliott Knob, over 4,000 feet, and this is where the colors are popping across the region, especially between 3,000 and 4,000 feet. Anywhere you go in West Virginia, it is looking amazing. It's starting to really develop across the higher ridges in Virginia. I'm going to give you a foliage update here coming up about the half-hour mark in the show, so right around 5:30. Now, temperatures will be slipping into the 50s this evening. It's still going to be on the cool side, a little bit of a light breeze early, and overnight lows in the upper 30s to low 40s as the wind calms down. If we see a little bit of clearing, that's where we could see some patchy frost in a few of our low spots for tonight, but not expecting anything widespread. Temperatures fairly mild for this week, some cool overnight lows. We have some rain on the way for the weekend, but that's still looking pretty limited. I'll break down the latest details. That's all coming up later in the show.
Now your First Alert traffic update, sponsored by Rockingham Insurance.
Let's take a look at the roads this evening. This is a view of the VDOT camera on I-81 at mile marker 246 northbound in Harrisonburg. So far, no accidents or delays to report.
The Virginia NAACP's president is filing a lawsuit against Governor Glenn Youngkin's administration. The NAACP says this is in response to Governor Youngkin's decision on voting right restoration for convicted felons.
Governor Youngkin has chosen to do away with that policy and to enact a new policy that is both arbitrary in it's an at-will determination on his behalf based on factors that he has not made public, whether to restore an individual's rights.
Brian Snow of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law says Virginia is one of very few states with felon voting restrictions. As a reminder, you can find these stories and many more online over at WHSV.com. Just click the News tab, and there you can browse through the latest in local, state, and national news. Tonight, the House of Representatives enters what could be its third week without an elected speaker. 2 weeks ago, Florida Representative Matt Gaetz brought forth a motion to vacate then Speaker Kevin McCarthy and removed him from his position with a 216 to 219 vote.
Since then, Republicans have been searching within their party for the next speaker. Republicans held an internal vote between House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan. Scalise defeated Jordan by 14 votes. The final tally was 113 to 99.
Scalise eventually dropped out of the speaker race when it became clear he did not have the votes within his party to be elected, leaving Jordan to run for the seat.
Jordan can only lose 4 Republican votes if every member votes on the House floor. He has the support of many of his colleagues, including former Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Virginia's 6th District Representative Ben Cline. But still, some members of Congress are expressing concern over the growing amount of time Congress has been without a Speaker of the House. Jordan himself among them, saying this yesterday.
We need to get a speaker tomorrow. The American people deserve to have their Congress, their House of Representatives working, and you can't have that happen until you get a speaker, so we need to do that.
Representative for Arkansas Steve Womack echoed the need for a speaker yesterday, saying it needs to be a Republican conference decision.
The conference will have to decide at some point in time how urgent it is for us to get this government functioning again.
Karen Cava has been carefully watching Congress all day. She joins us now live from Washington, D.C. Karen, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chelsea.
So, Karen, where do things stand right now in this process to restart the House of Representatives with a speaker?
Well, Chelsea, Jim Jordan says he's determined to get a second vote on his nomination today or tonight. But right now, the House is in recess trying to regroup after that first vote that found Jim Jordan without the support of 20 House Republicans. Now, Jordan and his allies were expecting that number to be a lot smaller, something in the single digits and perhaps something they could overcome on the House floor. But it's going to get a lot messier from here. There are a number of Republicans who said they would only support Jordan on the first ballot, and there are some who believe that Jordan's support will only go down in further rounds. Jordan has also sought the confidence and the advice of Kevin McCarthy, the former House Speaker, during this recess, trying to regroup here. McCarthy himself went 15 rounds back in January trying to be elected Speaker, but there are a lot of House Republicans, Chelsea, who do not want a repeat of that messy scenario.
Right, and we've seen just one vote today. 20 Republicans still holding out on voting for Jim Jordan. What have been the biggest concerns among those Republican holdouts?
There's a number of issues within this Republican caucus, Chelsea. First, you have those who are disappointed that this process had to take place in the first place, that are still agitated with the 8 House Republicans who voted with Democrats to oust Kevin McCarthy 2 weeks ago. So there's still some feelings simmering there. Then there are those who are not so sure about Jordan's close alliance with former President Donald Trump, especially those in moderate swing districts who feel they will be, if Republicans hold on to a House majority next year, front and center in helping the 2024 Republicans do that. And then there are those who are concerned about Jordan's talk about spending cuts, vast spending cuts, especially when it comes to defense spending. As a fiscal conservative, this is something he's championed for a long time. Republicans and Democrats have to find some sort of compromise on the appropriations process in the next few weeks. They've got a deadline of November 17th they are working up against. So a lot of Republicans unsure how that would work, with Jordan being very conservative on those matters. So a number of issues that Republicans are trying to reconcile here, Chelsea.
And just one more question for you, Karen. Jordan spent the last few days trying to change the minds of dozens of House Republican colleagues. What caused some of his colleagues to flip their decisions?
Yeah, remember on Friday when they came out of that initial balloting, Chelsea, the number of House Republicans who were opposed to Jim Jordan was 55. So he narrowed that number considerably with the help of his allies over the weekend, but still has a ways to go. Those who flipped their votes, many of them looking for an end to this process. They say the House of Representatives needs to get back to work. And if it meant backing Jim Jordan, that was what they were going to do. Some Republicans don't see an alternative here. They don't know where they go next. It wasn't Steve Scalise. It wasn't Kevin McCarthy. So who do they tap within the leadership? A lot of them eager to get back to work, especially with multiple crises on the domestic front. You've got that spending battle teed up that needs to be resolved in the next few weeks. And of course, you have the ongoing conflict, Israel and Hamas. Chelsea?
All right, Karen Kafla reporting live from our nation's capital. Thank you, Karen.
You bet.
When the news at 5 continues, educators discuss how to tackle the topic of artificial intelligence in schools. A Valley Community College's steps toward integrating the technology into the classroom.
And in the next half hour,
every day we sit waiting on our phones to see if our friends and our family are alive.
the far-reaching impacts of the war between Israel and Hamas as family members stateside wait for any update from those among the chaos.
As the Halloween holiday quickly approaches, you may still be looking for a last-minute costume. Tomorrow morning on Daybreak, we'll tell you how you can thrift your costume and do it for a good cause.
Today, ChatGPT was introduced and approved for college curriculum roughly 2 months ago, officially making artificial intelligence a tool for education. WHSV's Cora Dickey spoke with a professor at Blue Ridge Community College to learn about the difference it's made so far. Cora, what did you find out?
Well, Chelsea, the use of artificial intelligence was inevitable after its launch. People could have avoided it, but leaders at Blue Ridge Community College decided to run with it, seeing the good it could do. BRCC professors found AI to be scary at first because they didn't have the policies, protocols, or proper use guidelines for the entire software. Select teachers were tasked to dive deep into researching how artificial intelligence could boost education. Now AI has been used by students and professors alike after a few months online.
I could upload some of my writing and ask a generative AI tool to write like me. We started seeing students submitting work, generating written work and written responses, and using it to solve homework questions.
Sarah Botkin says AI is consistently changing, but the college wants to stay on top of it. Blue Ridge Community College even set up a teaching and learning center around AI, seeing its full potential and the start of something great. The point is to keep the school's education at top-notch quality. Working hard for you, Cora Dickey, WHSV.
I think it's unique in terms of its severity, and in terms of the severity, the loss of human life to date, and also in terms of the horrendousness of Israel's retaliatory response.
Later on in the news at 5, Taylor Azari sits down with a political science professor at James Madison University to dive into the background of the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict. But up next.
Well, temperatures very slowly starting to climb this week, but what's ahead for your fall weekend? I'll have the latest. That's after the break. But first, take a look at our network of Pepsi of Central Virginia sky cams. We have some clearing in downtown Harrisonburg, but that fall color across the mountains is looking quite amazing.
Wall of defense from getting hurt twice.
Third Storm Team Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Aubrey Urbanowitz in the F&M Bank Doppler Radar.
even despite the cloud cover today, temperatures were actually fairly pleasant across the region. A lot of our mountain locations staying closer to the mid 50s for the valley. We've been able to rise into the upper 50s around 60. Some sunshine at times, and we did have a breeze. It was more on the lighter side today, but not a bad fall afternoon. Now, it is going to feel quite cool into tonight as temperatures continue to slip into the 50s. If we look at first alert Doppler radar and satellite, we had a few showers earlier, some sprinkles at times between last night and earlier today. That's all pretty much dissipated, so I expect us to stay dry for tonight. Notice we're starting to see a little bit of clearing. That's what you saw in our sky cam from downtown Harrisonburg. So any partial clearing for tonight will lead to some cooler temperatures, but I would call it maybe partly to mostly cloudy as we move into the overnight hours, and we should start to actually see a little more clearing into tomorrow. Maybe not fully sunny, but at least some more clearing throughout the day. Low temperatures for tonight, once again into the upper 30s to lower 40s, where we have more of the cloud cover hanging on, especially across the northern part of the area. That's where temperatures may stay closer to the lower to mid 40s. And then any clearing that we have, that's where we'll drop into the upper 30s. And that's where we would have to watch for some patchy frost across some of our low spots, some clearing for tonight. It should be pretty isolated and certainly not widespread, but you know, it is kind of that time of year where we're pretty much at the average frost date and even just past for our West Virginia locations especially, and we're pretty much at that average first frost date for the valley in mid-October. Now, temperatures for tomorrow, we're going to start with some sunshine and then have some kind of high, thin clouds at times throughout the day. So we'll have more sunshine for tomorrow. Again, more of a light breeze, highs in the lower to mid 60s. So again, another nice day, that slow rise in temperatures for the rest of the week. And I don't expect any frost for Wednesday night, especially with a light breeze. Now, by Thursday, we should have more of an increasing cloud kind of day. So we'll start with the sunshine, then clouds building into the afternoon. Still very mild with highs in the mid to upper 60s, and it will be rather breezy at times, especially across the higher terrain. So if you do plan to do some leaf peeping or go hiking, just be aware that we'll have the breeze, especially for the end of the week, and it will be stronger across the higher ridge lines. Friday, we'll start with a little sunshine and certainly have a good amount of cloud cover at times throughout the day. As far as the shower activity, it still looks pretty limited. So right now I'm expecting a few spotty showers later into the afternoon on Friday and again for Friday night. So no guarantees for a dry Friday night football, but this will not be widespread. We'll kind of have a break at times overnight, and then we should have another round coming in on Saturday. The rain does look a little bit more on the sparse side, but we will still have some spotty on and off showers between Friday late in the day, Friday night, and again on Saturday. So your Blue Mountain Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling 7-day forecast, I would call it more breezy as we go into the weekend. Sustained winds probably pushing 10, maybe at most 20 miles an hour, gusts about 25 miles an hour. So certainly we'll have the wind at times, not extremely windy. So as kind of we said last weekend, you know, maybe not enough for a small dog alert. Your trash can might be knocked over, but maybe not down the road. Right. So just, it's typical this time of the year when we get these cold fronts. You have the wind, it's going to be kind of annoying at times, and it'll take down some of those leaves. But boy, are they looking fantastic right now.
Yeah, I want Air 3 to get back up there and show us some more
We're
views
going to send
of the
Julian
trees.
out this week because, I mean, the ridges are just, they're coming along very nice.
Yes, love to see it. Thank you, Aubrey.
Still ahead, Georgia law enforcement asking for help after 4 inmates escaped from a local prison. The local sheriff's office describes as a rundown.
You're watching WHSV. We stream newscasts live on the WHSV app.
The Klein May Realty Showcase, bringing you the most up-to-date real estate information for the Shenandoah Valley. Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our showcase features house boards, video home tours, and more. Our Klein May Corner covers relevant real estate topics, community events, and once a month, local animals up for adoption in our Finding Forever Home segment. Every week is a new show, so be sure to tune in every Sunday for the Klein May Realty Showcase. Welcome home.
The price of the life-saving COVID-19 medication Paxlovid is likely to rise next year. This as the U.S. continues to transition out of the emergency phase of the pandemic. The antiviral drug will move from being available free to everyone through government purchases to a more traditional commercial marketplace for most patients at the end of this year. That's according to the Department of Health and Human Services and drug maker Pfizer. The new price before insurance hasn't been set, but is expected to be higher than $530 per course price paid by the government. People who are on Medicare or Medicaid or who are uninsured will still be able to get Paxlovid for free through 2024, but those with commercial insurance are likely to face a copay. When we come back, the impacts of the Israel-Hamas conflict here at home. Families wait for answers as demonstrations around the U.S. become more frequent and sometimes dangerous.
WHSV News at 5 continues now with your first alert forecast.
Well, the fall color is really exploding across the area. Take a look at this view from Augusta County from Air 3. Now, this is at the lower elevations, and you can see those pockets of really great color, but I want to show you where the best color still is right now. This is from explorefall.com. West Virginia is still where we have not just high, but also peak color. Some areas past peak across the Allegheny Mountains, but Highland County is looking amazing right now. And the color still very moderate across the rest of the area. We're starting to see that best color between about 3,000 and 4,000 feet. So Highland County, thanks to Alice for sending these in. Highland County is at peak right now and will still look fantastic for the rest of the week. And you'll still have some good color into the weekend, but the peak will start to fade, I think, a little bit more by the weekend, especially with the cooler air and some wind coming in. But right now, Highland County looking absolutely fantastic. This is the view from Air 3 we took yesterday, Route 33 in Rockingham County. The higher ridges are just looking spectacular. So Reddish Knob, the Germany Valley, Seneca Rocks is really starting to develop. Anywhere in West Virginia, you're going to see a fantastic view. The high to peak color is between about 3,000 to 4,000 feet right now. Skyline Drive and the Blue Ridge, you're going to see pockets of anywhere from low to moderate to high color, and the color is still trickling down some of the higher ridges. So now is the time to get out and enjoy, and we'll keep you updated on that fall color, and you can send in your great fall photos.
Now your first alert traffic update, sponsored by Rockingham Insurance.
Checking back in on the roads this evening, this is the view from the VDOT camera on I-81 at mile marker 264 southbound in Newmarket. Right now, things are moving right along. No accidents or delays to report.
As the war on Israel continues to rage, thousands of Americans are impacted by the unfolding conflict.
Muslim communities say they are concerned about anti-Muslim bias, and one Illinois community is grappling with the loss of a child after he was stabbed to death in what police say was a hate crime.
In the meantime, many Palestinian Americans are awaiting news from their relatives still trapped in Gaza, while others are trying to lend a hand to Israelis living amid the conflict.
Gloria Pazmino has the latest.
Disturbing new details emerging a day after a 6-year-old Palestinian American boy was laid to rest. The young boy was stabbed to death in what law enforcement says was a hate-motivated attack. Landlord Joseph Zuba was charged with murder and hate crimes after police say he stabbed Waidia Al-Fayoum and seriously injured the boy's mother, Hanan Shaheen. According to court documents, his wife told police Zuba routinely listened to conservative talk radio and had been following the conflict in the Middle East. Prosecutors said he had asked the family to move out of their residence after the conflict started. Apparently, his wife said, because he believed Shaheen would bring her Palestinian friends to harm them.
He was less worse to his mom. Mom, I'm fine.
There is a palpable sense of fear across Palestinian communities. Some are worried about a possible increase in threats and anti-Muslim bias.
I need my father to stay alive. I stay up at night, every night, praying and hoping he comes home safely.
Palestinians in the U.S. are also awaiting news from their relatives who are trapped in Gaza amid the ongoing conflict.
Every day we sit waiting on our phones to see if our friends and our family are alive.
Americans are also looking to help Israelis affected by the war. The Jewish National Fund USA is working to raise $10 million in the next month to send aid to people living in Israel. Working hard for you, Gloria Pasmino, WHSV.
Blue Ridge Community College is looking for a new location for its CDL training course. The school's commercial driving program currently has its training course behind the Augusta County Government Center in Verona. But with the new Augusta County Courthouse being built there, it will soon have to move. BRCC plans to rebuild a course on its campus, but in the short term, it's looking for a temporary home.
We're looking for 3 to 5 acres of paved land, which is not easy to find. So we're looking in the private sector for partners and supporters of Blue Ridge Community College truck driving program to maybe work with us and provide some of that space.
Any person or business with a property they'd be willing to allow BRCC to use is asked to contact the office of President John Downey.
On Sunday, residents in southern Augusta County heard a boom that was later confirmed to be an earthquake. Patrick Lamb, the emergency management coordinator for Augusta County, says if you hear a strange noise like that, you should call 911 to report it. And if you know where the sound came from, keep a safe distance away from it. Lamb says in the event of an earthquake, you should get on the floor to prevent falling. Cover your head and neck area with your hands if you do not have a pillow or sturdy surface to get under.
We recommend that everybody have a plan for all kinds of disasters that happen within your geographical region where you live, and to have a go kit that you can sustain yourself and your family for at least 72 hours after a disaster.
Lamb says you can access more resources on how to prepare for disasters on ready.gov.
A Georgia sheriff is offering a reward and asking the public for help in the manhunt for 4 escaped inmates. The men broke out of a section of an aging detention center that the sheriff himself describes as run down. One of the fugitives was being held on a murder charge. Laura Aguirre has the latest as the search enters its second day.
Somebody is probably laughing at the TV set saying, oh, they'll never catch us. They'll never catch us. We will catch them.
Bibb County, Georgia Sheriff David Davis says these 4 men have been on the run since early Monday morning when they slipped out through a day room window.
This happened in the oldest part of the jail, the oldest, run-downest part of the jail.
After getting through holes cut in chain link fences, Sheriff Davis says the fugitives sped off in a blue Dodge Challenger with a getaway driver. Charges between 3 of the men, who range in age from 24 to 37 years old, include aggravated assault, weapons possession, and drug trafficking. The 4th, 52-year-old Joey Fournier, is accused of murder for allegedly strangling his ex-girlfriend. Before Monday's escape, at least one Bibb County leader says she saw problems at the jail.
The potential for danger is just tremendous. That jail that we have is insufficient.
The sheriff shares her concerns about the aging facility.
That's been an issue for us. Staffing, the conditions of the jail. We have a 43-year-old jail.
I think that community conversation on law enforcement, on public safety has got to happen, and it's got to happen soon.
Working hard for you. Laura Aguirre, WHSV.
After the break, Rachel DePompa speaks with experts to learn how you can navigate today's real estate market. And after that,
temperatures slowly on the upward trend for this week, but another front just in time for your fall weekend. I'll have the latest look at what you can expect. That's coming up. But first, take a look at today's highs. Pretty much everyone just hitting 60 degrees, almost barely this afternoon, but overall a nice fall day.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the next year, the key is to plan as much as you can. Do your research on your local real estate market. Cherry Dale, a financial coach with the Virginia Credit Union, also says understanding your own financial picture will also help you navigate this current market.
I would highly suggest that you pull your own credit and see where you are as far as what your credit score is and what debt is out there. What your debt to income ratio is. All of these things will impact you when you're getting ready to purchase that house.
Dale says if you are a first-time home buyer, consider attending a seminar to help you better understand the process. Research Real Estate 101 classes so you feel confident and have a plan. She says research interest rates and what that means for you. Check and see if your financial institution will do a lock-in shop, meaning lock in a rate for you for a period of time as you look for a home. Can you also lock in and meet with a mortgage specialist?
One of the things we highly suggest is to get a team on your side. You want to have a realtor on your side that's licensed, that's doing this full-time, that's focused in on your needs, your wants. You want to start looking around for a loan officer for a financial institution that's going to help support you.
Dale says you want a team around that knows the local market and has the experience to match. It's okay to talk to several people before you settle in on one realtor and one financial institution. Buying a home is a process, and Dale says take your time. With this Watch in Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Your First Alert Storm Team forecast with Chief Meteorologist Aubrey Urbanowitz in the F&M Bank Doppler Radar.
We'll take a look at the view. This is from the Mount Storm area, West Virginia, West Virginia 511 on Route 48. Just a few minutes ago, the color was looking much more vibrant with a little bit of sunshine, but you can see the wind turbines there, and the color, I mean, is absolutely looking spectacular across the area. And now is the time to really see that West Virginia fall color before it continues to develop in Virginia over the next week and a half or so. So I would say last call for West Virginia within the next maybe 4 to 7 days for most areas, and then it'll continue to trickle down into the lower spots, and then we'll really start to see more areas pop in Virginia, especially for the Blue Ridge and Skyline Drive, which are really starting to develop quite nicely right now. Still across the area, we've got the cloud cover. We've got some partial clearing. We'll see some partial clearing into tonight, but any of the little sprinkles, little spritzes that we had earlier today, those are pretty much done. So we're going to stay dry for tonight. It's going to be a cooler evening with temperatures in the 50s. The cloud cover keeping us basically from dropping too quickly for tonight, but overnight lows with some partial clearing ranging from the upper 30s to lower 40s. It's where we have some additional clearing, so those low spots can drop closer to the mid 30s. Again, that's going to be contingent on some clearing, and that's where we could see maybe some isolated areas of light frost, but I don't expect anything widespread for tonight, but a little patchy frost not out of the question with the winds letting up. So still a cool start for tomorrow morning. High temperatures a little bit higher than today, lower to mid 60s. We'll have some more sunshine breaking out, especially in the early part of the day, and then kind of a band of thin clouds across the area for the afternoon. So still not looking at full sunshine, but should be a little bit more sunshine as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. Now on Thursday, we should start with the sunshine and then the clouds kind of increase throughout the day. This is starting to at least be kind of the leading edge of our next system coming in as we approach the weekend. Highs will be a little bit better. High temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. We'll have that breeze at times, and just keep in mind across the higher ridges, not just for Thursday, but also the weekend, we'll have that lingering breeze, and it will be a little bit higher across the higher elevation areas. So if you're leaf peeping, if you're hiking, just be aware the winds are going to be stronger the higher up in elevation you are. Friday, we'll have a decent amount of cloud cover, some breaks in the clouds, especially early in the day. Right now, I'm looking at some spotty showers to come in late Friday afternoon into Friday evening, so maybe not fully dry for Friday night football or any Friday night events. We'll still have that breeze at times, but the rain will be somewhat limited across the area. We'll get a little bit of a break, and then I expect another round to come in on Saturday with some spotty on and off showers. So not fully dry, but again, the rainfall is going to be somewhat limited across the area. Your Blue Mountain Plumbing, Heating and Cooling 7-day forecast will have that lingering breeze through Thursday right into the weekend with some gusty winds at times. Gusts could be pushing about 25 miles an hour, and then temperatures still staying in the 60s for the week.
All right, Aubrey, thank you. The war between Israel and Hamas is in its 11th day. We get insight from a political science expert on what makes this conflict unique.
Home.
A quick disclaimer ahead of this next segment. This was filmed before the news of the deadly hospital bombing in Gaza. That bombing killing hundreds of people today, so the mentioned death toll is not updated.
The war between Israel and Hamas started just over a week ago, and since then, the death toll on both sides has risen to 4,000. Now Joe Biden will be gearing up for meetings in the Middle East. And joining me now on 3 to discuss this and more is Dr. Mamal Jamal, a professor of political science at James Madison University. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so going back just for a little bit of context, these tensions and conflicts between Israel and Palestine, they've been ongoing for years, but this one is very unique. So what makes this situation, this conflict, so unique?
I think it's unique in terms of its severity, and in terms of the severity in the loss of human life to date, and also in terms of the horrendousness of Israel's retaliatory response. As you mentioned, there's been an incredible death toll. To date, 4,150 people have been killed, the majority of whom are innocent civilians. On the Israeli side, 1,300 Israeli Jews have been killed, again, the majority of whom are innocent civilians. I think it's fair to say this marks one of the highest death tolls as a result of a single offensive action since 1948 on the Israeli side. And I think it's fair to say it's also one of the most gruesome. Hamas is also holding 150 to 200 Israeli Jews as hostages as of right now. And on the Palestinian side, over 2,850 Palestinians have been killed in these past 10 days, and it's likely that this figure is much higher because there are still tens of people, possibly hundreds, still under rubble. And so the severity in terms of the loss of human life is definitely something we have not seen in past episodes. What also is different is the horrendousness of Israel's retaliatory response. Not only in terms of their indiscriminate bombing of civilian areas in the Gaza Strip, but also they have ordered 1.1 million Palestinians to relocate from the north of the Gaza Strip to the south. This clearly is forced population displacement. To date, or last I checked, over 600,000 Palestinians have been displaced. Israel has also cut off all water and electricity supplies to the Gaza Strip. And as of yesterday, they still were not allowing any humanitarian assistance to enter the Gaza Strip. I think to call this as a humanitarian crisis is an understatement. It's a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions.
And as we head into break, a view above a train as it passes through Elkton from Air 3.
You can find the full video at WHSV.com. Aubrey has another look at your forecast just minutes away. So we did talk about this yesterday, that the boom or the shaking that people felt in Augusta County was an earthquake. That is confirmed, but a lot of people were questioning, why did it take so long to get that confirmation?
Exactly. So when I started getting reports in, it was about 2.5 hours after the initial quake. And so I was on the USGS site within 2.5 to even 3 hours, and there was nothing on their site. Usually everything is on there very quickly. And they even confirmed to me today, yes, usually most earthquakes are on there within 10 minutes. But because of the low magnitude, they had to go in, get a little bit more data to make sure it wasn't some sort of an explosion, a rock mine, a quarry doing some sort of work and things like that, and they actually had to physically confirm. So that's why there was a delay, and we're not going to confirm anything without that confirmation from USGS, because there can be seismic waves at times from other things like an explosion or from like a rock quarry or something like that. So we have to wait for that confirmation from USGS.
Absolutely. All right, Aubrey, thank you so much. And when we come back, today's Medical Minute.
Time now for a look at career opportunities in the Valley. Today's job of the day is sales associate for America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses in Harrisonburg. For this and all the other job opportunities in the Valley, head to vajobconnections.com. A new study reveals where you live could impact your chance of getting breast cancer and your chance of beating it. ABC's Justin Finch has today's Medical Minute.
A national study published in JAMA Network Open looked at data from more than 2,100 counties in the United States and found differences in female breast cancer deaths depending on where people lived. States such as Oklahoma, Alabama, Ohio, and West Virginia were some of the places with higher rates. Perhaps not surprisingly, places with higher mammogram screenings had fewer deaths, while places with higher rates of obesity had more deaths. Researchers also found that access to health foods and exercise opportunities made a positive impact, while places with increased segregation and lower access to primary care and mental health doctors had a negative impact. The study did not include every county in the country, but suggests that improving public health programs could be a key in bridging the cancer disparity gap. With this Medical Minute, I'm Justin Finch, ABC News.
Thanks for joining us at 5. The news continues next at 6. Now you can expect later this evening on WHSV.
Tonight, civilians flee and hostage families wait as the world braces for the next stage of the Israel-Hamas war. Plus, the vote for a new House Speaker and the chaos. More Americans turn to the most watched newscast on television. World News Tonight with David Muir.
Here's a look at tonight's primetime lineup.